This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning. My name is Amity Barnard. I'm the special magistrate presiding over today's hearing. This is the Town of Ocean Ridge code enforcement hearing. Today's date is I watched folks in the room. So for those of you who have not been here before or not familiar with the process, the cases will be heard in the order that they appear on the agenda unless I'm told otherwise by the town attorney. Essentially, we have violation hearings and fine assessment hearings on the agenda today. So what's going to happen is town will put on its case first. Town attorney will read into the record your address. Once you hear your name and your address come to the podium, town will, as I said, put on its evidence first. It will introduce exhibits, what the violations are. We'll hear all testimony from the town's witnesses. Then you will have an opportunity to ask questions of those witnesses, provide any testimony, any evidence you have to me, and tell me anything that I need to understand. Once we hear all that, please, if you have questions as you move forward in your case, stop me and ask. At the end of it, I'll make finding mail. That, I guess we'll swear. We don't have anybody attending by phone for everybody. If you are here today to provide testimony for any case on the agenda, could you write in? Are you Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. Stand and raise your right hand for me. Do you all swear from to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I'll turn it over to the town.
Yes, Special Magistrate. What we would like to do is on regarding, we'd like to modify the agenda. Item B on the agenda, case 2020-004, Inlet Plaza Condominium Association, Inc. at 6885 North Ocean Boulevard. We would like to continue that to November 3rd. We would also like to continue item C, which is violation hearing case number 2020-005, which is the Tamarind Inc., located at 6665 North Ocean Boulevard. We would like to continue that to November 3rd as well. We would also, Special Magistrate, appreciate if you could move violation hearing case number 2020-020 up on the agenda to be heard right after the adoption of the minutes and the approval of the agenda by yourself.
Okay, thank you, sir. That I will send to item A, which is the previous December 1st minutes. I read those. I don't those, so I'll adopt those. With regard to items B, with opposing counsel,
I did.
in agreement with that November.
Yes, let me see. I know. Let me put on the record that yes, I did. I know I had sent them emails, and I know for sure I got correspondence back from one of them. I think from both of them. I think I got it back from both of them.
And nobody here in the audience here on behalf of sure. We'll go ahead and grant your order, Special Magistrate, or excuse me, attorney F004. I will violation hearing at M 820-05. I will get first, third, then we'll proceed to F, which is F0.
Yes, and this is Ocean K Condo Association, 6550 North Ocean Boulevard. The nature of the violations of 67-51, 67-60, 105.1 of the Florida Building Code, which is performing work without a permit. And I will turn it over to the building official in just a second, but I would like to enter the file, which I think you have a copy of, along with some photographs and town exhibits into the record. And I would also like to point out that we would also be seeking, apart from a violation of, or finding of guilt on the violation, the admin cost of $184.20. That's in exhibit number 5. But let me go ahead and turn it over to the town's building official, Mr. Guy, so he can explain the nature of the violation.
Morning, Magistrate. So, This violation, it's actually work without permit. There was work being done, dock structure, rear of the property. Red tag was placed. The workers were advised that the nature of work required a permit and had halted. Subsequently, we associated representative and they also that was needed that work and we were advised that they would process appropriate. As of today, we do not have that application or have an as was.
Okay, so no application even. Is the respondent? Thank you. You could go to the podium, ma'am, and if you could state your name, your affiliation record.
Patty Rogers, promotion.
And then I'll ask the town attorney if we can give this case file to the.
And let the special magistrate know if you have any objection.
Oh, when I'm really here.
Oh, I get it, if you can,
Okay,
I
good.
kind of understand, that and, you know.
Catherine's listening. And I sent these photographs, so I'm sure that guys kind of unusual because the proposal was signed by one.
No, I know, if you
Okay.
can, just, if you're okay, I think you've probably seen everything there, and probably a lot of that stuff is from you. I
Right.
just need you to state on the record for the special magistrate that you're, either you have objections or you don't have any objections.
I don't have any.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. Thank you. And special magistrate, there you go. And I would like to enter that into, record without objection.
Okay, and so at this time I will, enter into record case, evidentiary case file, which, not been objected to by respondents, so I'll put that without. And ma'am, if you could go ahead and explain.
We only had one board member sign, Hunt Road. When they put the, red flag on the dock side, I wasn't even aware that we had a problem. I live on the south side and I think still working there, I thought. They can work with, board member, I don't know, said we spoke to representatives, Ocean County, I don't know.
That would be the property management.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
They really haven't let me know or have from their dealings with well doctors job. He is working, what's held it up is the survey. We thought survey that we had, but it's out of date, so now we have hired a surveyor. They're in the process of getting an engineer, make sure that everything aesthetic and go on with the project. Just that Keegan had a stroke and now he's back in Boston. I like him. It doesn't take care of soon. I would like to involve the property manager, all doctors.
What is the town?
Well, I think what we're looking for is, we don't mind, and I'll let Ronnie speak to this, giving them, some time, and I'll let Ronnie kind of talk about the time frame about that, but otherwise, if not in compliance on that day, then we would be seeking to come back for a fine assessment hearing and a fine, a daily fine imposed. And I'm not sure how much time, based on what you said, I don't know, I would kind of defer to the building official as far as, how much time would be involved, and I don't know if Ocean K, if you have a time frame on when you're going to be able to get the survey and the engineer and do all of those things.
That was hired one Friday. But another problem was not the legal that ever created. So, but also with is photographs, if there's anything for on those.
So, we appreciate that this type of project is one that requires a lot of, preparation. Recommend 25 days, allow the document have at least done to prior to the progress from the.
And this is work without a permit as is shown in the photograph, so compliance is issuing a permit by,
That is
correct?
Third, yes, my, thought is, I don't know if we want to have a time frame that if it looks like they aren't going to meet it or they're going to be close to meeting it, they have the ability to come in and report back to you, and then whether or not we're okay with an extension or not, something like that. That's my only thought on that. And I don't know if Durrani feels okay about that, where we time it in such a way that it's due, you know, and I don't know if we want to make it due on November 3rd or before. Well, if we do that, let's say November 2nd. And so that way, if we don't receive it by November 2nd, but somehow in the order say, look, if you can't do that, you need to let us, you know, if there's certain extenuating circumstances, and I mean, and it's not just the engineer or the surveyor kind of, well, we're too busy or something, but I mean, if there's something else, hopefully they can get this done and get those documents to Durrani. And then after that, let's say if they meet that time frame, is there another time frame you would have to, that they, submit the complete application package?
Yes, I guess another 30 days, but how about
Okay, so that would support that. How does that sound in terms of 25 days? It sounds like
That
you're
sounds
making
very
progress.
reasonable, yeah.
Okay, so that, what they're asking you is within 25 days to submit the application, and then within an additional 30 days to issue.
Yes, that's
Okay. So based on that, if the town is amenable, how about put it, the application by November 2nd, right in advance of our third hearing, put that as a status / fine assessment. And then for issuance of permit, November 30th.
I would recommend that. And that in the order you provide that, you know, you need to show back up here for the November 2nd hearing unless you hear from Durrani or whatever that you submitted the stuff and he goes, no, we're proceeding, and that you, so is that okay, Special Magistrate, where, you know, if they're proceeding okay, then we will.
If she won't need to appear at the hearing.
That's my thought.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It'll essentially be a bifurcated order. So the first step of your compliance will be to submit the permit application by the required deadline. If you fail to do that, you will need to show up at the November 3rd fine assessment hearing. If you submit it, you'll get confirmation from the town that they received it. You will. And then the second phase of your compliance will be getting issued by 30th. And if you fail to issue the permit by that date, to the fine assessment. Those dates, sound suitable to you? Anything else that you'd like me to hear? Thank you. So with that, I'll make my, official ruling, and as I said, you'll get an order in the mail, but I'll find in case 2020-020 that notice is good and sufficient, or respondent is present. I will find that respondent is in fact in violation of the town code section 7-51-60, as well as 105.1 code. Without a permit, will require the respondent to comply with those sections in 2 phases. Phase 1 will be building permit application on or before November 2nd, or appear at a status/fine assessment that application. I will also require the respondent to issue on or before November 30th, and if you fail to by November, I'm sorry. And I will also award administrative costs for.
And if that could be paid by November 2nd.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we'll revert to.
Yes, Special Magistrate, this would be fine assessment for case number 2020-008, Stephen Golden at 6100 North Ocean Boulevard. Is there anyone here for that particular case? Okay, with that, at this time, Your Honor,
Morning, my name is Martin Wischbeck, 5 Engel Drive. I'm one of the neighbors across. I'm not sure if they're aware that this is one, so that they're aware, but they might have missed. Trying to get somebody, knocking on the door over there. Take the other case first.
well, actually, I don't think there's going to be a need for that, and here's why. At this point in time, Your Honor, that based on the violation itself, town would is asserting that they are in compliance, and that so there would be no fine assessment and no other charges involved in this case.
You're asking for an order.
Yes.
Okay, and what was the date of complaint? Thank you, sir.
Well, let's just say it was probably.
The 22nd.
Is that the day after the violation? When was the violation hearing? Okay.
That's okay. You'll put an affidavit of compliance in your file, and
Yeah.
the date is,
Yeah.
don't need.
Yes.
You're asking for something.
Right. That fines has been achieved.
Are you asking, not asking for a cost?
No, I'm not.
Okay, with that, in 2020-008, find that notice is sufficient. Previous order. Respondents. Find that their violation has been. Nothing. I guess, this file different, so respondent is not present. Record that the file is dated. Ordered.
Okay, and now, you see it's item E on the agenda, violation hearing, case number 2020-017, 113 Island Drive South, LLC. And this is for violation of section 67-4, 67-151 H and J, 67-10, and 67-59, failure to obtain temporary construction fence permit, removal of a tree not on approved site plan, failure to post permit at the construction site. And I would also point out that we would like to, there's also administrative fees involved in this case of $254 as well. And I will go ahead and turn that over to Mr. Guy, the town building official, so he can explain the nature of the violation.
Magistrate, this case has to do with contractors' unwillingness or inability to abide by the requirements of town's construction site management. This house that was partially demolished and as a requirement of building permit type, applicant is required to install the proper fence covering area and have a permit fence. Did try to work with the applicant and verbal not approved. Had in place before a plastic that was on the of the property, actually not on the right of way, on the hard pavement grass. I have a current picture that I'd like to evidence. So a notice was then sent to the applicant that this was a requirement that a permit be obtained, fence installed. However, they went ahead and did install a fence without a permit. Also installed a fence in location. And as it is, this picture is up this morning. We still have a significant hazard where the plastic fence was removed. So we have 3-foot spike on the edge of the property with significant blight, garbage of the property is happening, and it is a blight violation area. Second charge is actually for a permit that was issued not abided by, a tree removal permit where a neighbor filed a complaint of a tree being removed. Violation of that permit, where a tree said to be remaining in the middle of the property but was removed, and a notice was sent to the applicant to revise his permit as a special condition because we understand it is a construction site that required. They desired to remove that tree. They should have pointed it out, but they did remove it, violation of the permit. So they were either asked to replace the tree or revise their application, not done. And further to that, they did not post the appropriate permits on site for that permit that a little bit of understanding what was there. Those are the 3 violations.
Okay, and what is the town seeking?
The town would, and I'll defer to the guy, but we would be seeking for a very short time frame to come into compliance, as we believe that these matters can be addressed pretty quickly. And otherwise, we would be seeking a $150 per day fine if compliance is not achieved within the time frame. And I think I've spoken with Mr. Guy. Are you still looking at, I guess, possibly 2 weeks, 14 business days, or is there a different? Is that the time frame that we're kind of looking at?
Yes, that is correct. I must add also that permit application was dropped off in a Dropbox that we no longer use. I don't know if that was a misunderstanding, but the box outside is, clearly labeled that it is no longer the box that was COVID, stage one prior to, stage two, relaxation. We no longer use that box, however, the applicant placed, in application inside the box and has been, substituted by, there was an attempt to submit for permit as of today, has not been.
Okay, so I heard a short time frame,
I think we're looking at the 14
14
days
days total.
from the date of the order.
Sir, can you state your name?
Pete Richardson, I'm the owner of one. Are you?
And before we get into the merits of the case, I'm gonna have the town attorney bring the case file and documents.
I think the latest picture, that Mr. Guy talked about, that one there is part of the file too, so
Okay.
you can take a look at that. Let us know if you have some objections.
Any objections to, just to the documents?
I mean, those are your documents, yeah, those.
Okay, so no objection. Okay, without objection, I'll enter in record, evidentiary case file, which now also includes today of, so go ahead and explain.
Sure, so I was notated the violation from, and pressure me to get things. Okay, explained to him that's very difficult, you know what I mean, to get that done the next day, and he kind of was trying to push me, but, and anyway, so since then, I've hired a fence company, go out there, put a fence up there to serve the site, so no one can be hurt or anything like that, so I wanted to do that right away and get that done. I spoke to this fence company, they said there was no required permit needed for a temporary fence, so at that point, we just said, I wanna make sure, at least I can get that in compliance, at least get a fence around the structure. So there's no one going on there, no kids or anything like that, so I went and did that, and I was notified that I needed a permit, and hired a company, full permit for me. I believe that was the one that he dropped off in the, I guess at the time, other stuff in Ocean Ridge too, the same company. I don't know if that was probably the right procedure, but that wasn't, yeah, I was saying. But we're more than happy to get everything to compliance and work with you. Whoever needs to fix it, you know, with guidance, help get it done, but time more than 14, just not press it so hard, but we definitely want to get the right thing.
Okay, and I guess, what's your position, so the providing the tree, with the existing permit to include the tree, is that a different permit or is that the same?
That is a different permit.
So do you understand that you have two?
Yes,
two
after,
things?
yeah, now I understand that, now telling me that, I understand now we have to revise that permit, which has already been approved. Have to do it. Company did that for me, so.
Is that a revision or a new permit? I thought I heard you say that was a new permit. I just want to make sure it's clear that you've got all the information.
That's an existing tree removal permit that.
So he just needs to revise it.
Right,
Okay.
but he did not follow the, plan as
Okay.
to what he applied.
That was not included on the original permit? is that-
Exactly, that tree was removed, that was pointed out. And, just to talk about the timeline, first discussion I had, the gentleman was in July. And yes, was given time that we had, first time for him to get back in June.
Okay, and then with regard to the failure to post the permit, I think, right, that would be both of these permits, once they're issued?
That
Is
is
that
correct.
things that he needs to remedy on mine.
And is that just a box, like the builder's box or something?
It is up to the applicant, there are various ways that the
Okay.
most common,
Okay.
but he find out the methods of having permit.
Okay, and your testimony, Mr. Fry, was that the fence, newly installed fence may not be in the right spot, but that will be taken care of as part of the.
Well, what I'd like, gentlemen to understand is dominantly residential housing. Then walk out in the morning, walk there, dogs, they walk them. Outside is horrible, supposed to be fashion. And that's things the property side up.
So I've moved the fence. He's asked me to move the fence. I've since then moved the fence 10 feet past. Now, since the wind and the rain, we didn't screen up and I put this up right away. So
this is the move look.
yeah, we moved. It was actually up against the street. We have actually moved back. Just on that, we just didn't put the screen up yet because it was raining for like a really windy. So to put the screen up, that would make that fall down. So we hadn't put. But cleaning up the front of the property in front of that, I'd be more willing to clean that up and get over the posts and other stuff that was on there from the prior building official that was here that he asked me to do that. That's required by him, and that's why that was done at that time, just so you know, just go back in time before I was here. Prior previous building official, he asked me to put the orange fence up. He was okay with that, but now the guy was not, so that's where we came from.
In the exhibits in May, contractor was telling me that was in the email correspondence, I think it was 13.
And so, sir, you have, say you have a new contractor, so it seems to me getting issued a permit, it doesn't take a very lengthy amount of time, so it seems to me that the town is asking for a remedy, getting issued permits within 14 days.
The fence one, I have no problem with, because that's already been there. It's just the thing with the landscape architect getting things for everyone. Fine with that, but for the fence one, I'm more than happy to. That's already in for Smith, as long as you guys are turning around quickly, it's approved. I don't know what the time frame is when it wants to.
Within a week.
And I think we would also request the 14 days, the cleaning up of the material. I think you can do that very quickly as well. So we would also request that special magistrate have be with him.
Days, thank you. Okay, 2020-017, find that notice is good and sufficient. Requirements, I am gonna find that you are in violation of -4, 6, okay, 710, -10. Failure to obtain reconstruction permit, remove plan. Right,
And that would be also as well under 6710, the general maintenance of the construction site as well.
yes, there's no
Okay.
description, but I,
Okay.
and then, I to. And given the length, number of months that have passed, I am gonna grant the town their 14 days. I'm gonna ask that you comply with all these on or before October. Clear to do, so, and so everyone, that in reconstruction being issued revised permit for tree removal.
Issued or submitted at least putting in.
Issued. To get these applications.
That's a little difficult. Fence we're already in, but for the tree, that's what I was asking for time, that one specifically. Because to get that one in, time with the out of town. Fence one, they already jumped on it, the tree one, they were out of town on the one back, so I have to get some.
Special magistrate, the town would probably be amenable to granting, on that one particular item, giving, the property owner, 30 days for compliance with that.
Better.
And it's just on that one item there.
That's acceptable to you, sir?
Yeah, that gives me time to make sure I can get Todd back into you guys and you have enough time to be able to.
On the new, temporary fence permit, 14 compliance, that's by October 20th. On the revised tree fence permit to include the tree removal, 30 days from today would. Fence, the fine assessment.
Just repeat, basically.
Sure. The temporary fence permit, days compliance would be 30 days compliance. That the 14 days is also for general. 30 days for the revised permit to that date. Yep. And given the hearing schedule, that's the first in the sense that there is. That means if you don't comply with back on this.
Clarifying that for me.
Okay, and then in the event that there is, not compliance, $1 a day. Their administrative costs are. That's pay.
Yes.
Yep. Good.
Before we adjourn, Town Attorney, I didn't write down in item F, I didn't write down the amount, I think.
The fine amount that we would be seeking is $50 per day.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Turn to the